Hey, my name is Ellen, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Beautiful Things by Benson Boone on the guitar. Today I am featuring my Orangewood Brooklyn guitar, so if you like what you see, I will definitely have more information about it linked down below. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you're going to need to know 6 different chord shapes to play through this song, and we're going to start with our D major, which looks like this and sounds like this. By the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner series right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out right there. The next chord shape is our A major. We also have our E major. And then we have our E7. And then our last 2 chords are going to be bar chords. We've got our F sharp minor. And we also have our B minor. And those are the only 6 chords you need to know to play through this song. So go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really memorize these chord shapes, as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them, because it'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier on you. And if you're somebody who's currently struggling with those bar chord shapes or making those bar chord transitions, I would definitely recommend checking out my bar chord mini series right here on YouTube. I'll link that in the corner for those of you who need it. But once you have those chords down, then we can go ahead and talk about the strumming that I would recommend for this song. Alright, so as I always say, if you are brand new to playing guitar, or you're somebody who struggles with playing guitar while singing at the same time, the first thing I was just doing is to bring up the song and go ahead and go through the entire thing with a single down strum on each chord change as you sing through the song. And you want to take this time to really get used to what word or what syllable you're on whenever those chords are changing. So here's a quick example of what that would look like. For a while there it was rough, but lately I've been doing better. For the last cold 4 Decembers I recall. So that's just a really quick example, but you would essentially want to do that for the entire song and just really make sure you know where those chords are going to be changing. And this is actually something you need right now if you check out my Patreon page. I do have this entire guide available to download and print out, so I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box. But once you've done that and you're comfortable with those chord transitions, then we can go ahead and add to this to make a more full strumming pattern that you can use for this song. Alright guys, so for today's strumming pattern, as you can see, it's pretty simple. We're just sticking with all down strums. However, the count is going to be a little bit more unique in the fact that we're counting with triplets, so each beat is going to get 3 sub beats. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. We've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a down 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 down. All right, so pretty simple on the surface. And then the other thing is I'm going to go ahead and add a vertical line here in the middle, and what this is going to represent is where we're going to want to switch chords. So what you see on the screen is a full measure, but we're going to actually be playing like half measures for each of these chords. So for example, let's go ahead and bring up that first verse. We're starting here on our D chord. What you want to do is play it for the left half of the pattern. So for D we have 1 and a 2 and a, then switch to A and finish it out, 3 and a 4 and then same with the next line. We've got E, 1 and a 2 and a, to F sharp minor and finish it out, 3 and a 4 and a. All right, so a lot of this song does follow this progression, so without stopping it'll sound like this. We've got D, A, E, F sharp minor. And something you might be hearing me doing is I'm accenting the beat, so I'll go ahead and turn these arrows green, and basically what I'm doing there is I'm just strumming those beats with a little extra emphasis. So one way you can think about it too is like when you're strumming a chord, let's say like your E chord, when you're doing an accent you want to strum all the strings, but when you're doing those non-accented, so the rest of the purple arrows, you can kind of just concentrate more on like the bass strings. Totally optional, but if you do add that in, it does help drive the rhythm forward and keep track of where you're at in the song. But basically what you want to do is you can apply this pattern for almost the entire song. So let me go ahead and put a little bit of lyrics in there so you can hear how it sounds together. For a while there it was rough, lately I've been doing better. For the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. on that E chord where you do want to hold it out for the whole measure. I'll have that all listed on the guide that's on my Patreon page that you can download. But anyways, the thing with this strumming pattern is it does really fill out like the entirety of the song. Like the guitar basically becomes the focal point. So if you don't like how that sounds, one thing you can do is you can add a palm mute to this strumming pattern. So what I'm doing there is I'm taking the side of my hand with my pick in it and I'm ever so gently kind of laying it on the guitar strings right above where the bridge of my guitar is. And if you kind of hold your palm there as you strum down, you'll hear how it kind of dampens the sound of the strings. All right, so it's not ringing out as much. So I prefer playing it with a palm mute. I do think it sounds closer to the original song. This is the strumming pattern that you could totally use for the entire song. One thing that you can do that's super easy to change about it is on the and the of the second and the fourth beat, you can just completely ignore those. So essentially now we have 4 down strums. So you'd be like 1 and 2. And then mute your strings. I'm just taking my hand, stopping the strings from ringing. So you have 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. All right. So I like to use this strumming pattern where I'm kind of muting the strings in between when we get into that first like chorus. If you listen to the song, it's fairly intuitive where you want to add these kinds of things in. And again, I will show you how I would recommend playing this in my play along, but basically you would go, please stay, I want you, I need you, oh God, don't take these beautiful things that I've got. And then right there is where I would go back to the full pattern. The beautiful things that I've got. Ooh, oh. All right. There is one last thing I wanted to show you guys, which is kind of more of a picking pattern that I think sounds really close to the original song. So let's go ahead and talk about that next. All right, guys, so again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really get this strumming rhythm under your belt. It looks pretty simple on the surface, but with those accents and palm mutes and things like that, there is plenty to practice as well. So go ahead and pause and take as much time as you need to do that. And then once you get back, I can show you the cool little picking pattern that you kind of hear at the beginning of the song. It's actually super easy to do, so let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, guys, so for this picking pattern, it's gonna be pretty similar to strumming. So on your left hand, you're still holding all the chord shapes, and on your right hand, you still have a pick. But what we're gonna do is instead of strumming all the strings, we're gonna kind of separate them, okay? So for example, on our D chord, you're gonna pick the low strings individually first, and then strum the rest. Okay, so for D, we essentially have 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then you want to do that for the other chords as well. So for A, you're going to start your strum right on your A string where we normally do, but you're going to pick it individually, 5, 4, and then all the rest. All right. Looking at E, same thing. We've got our pick on the low E string, individual, and then all together. Moving to our F sharp minor, same thing. All right. And this picking pattern I think sounds the best at the very intro of the song. So instead of doing a single down strum, you could also go like this. And then if you want to sound it even closer to the original, what we can do is actually add some hammer-ons, okay? So this is going to apply for the D chord and the A chord. So go ahead and put your D chord on your left hand. What you want to do is start with your middle finger off, okay? And as it rings on this E string, you're going to hammer on your middle finger to the 2nd fret to complete that D chord shape. All right? So you're only picking it once with your pick, but you should hear 2 notes because of the hammer-on. Okay? And same thing, you want to put that in context with the picking pattern I just showed you. So for D, you would go 4, 3, and then hammer on. one more time. All right, and then for the A chord, same thing. You're gonna start with your A chord with your ring finger off, and then you're gonna hammer on with your ring finger to the 2nd fret. Okay, so we've got, all right, super subtle, but it really makes it sound a lot more pretty, a lot more full, and a lot more like the original. So for D, we've got hammer on. A, we've got hammer on. And then for the other 2 chords, E and F sharp minor, I would just do the regular picking pattern. So with a little bit of singing in there, you can hear how it comes all together. For a while there it was rough, but lately I've been doing better than the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. All right, so I would recommend this for the entire little first verse intro of this song. And I thank God every day. Here we're going to do single down strums for the girl he sent my way. All right, back to picking. But I know the things he gives me he can take away. And then when you get to the 2nd verse, I would just go back to that palm muted, all down strums. All right, but yeah, this is the picking pattern that I would recommend. It's super easy. You can almost think of it as just like a slow kind of strumming pattern too. But if you apply that to the intro of the song or like that first verse, I think it sounds really great, but again, totally optional and up to you. All right guys, so again, one last time, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to get this picking pattern under your belt. It's fairly simple. I think the hardest thing is probably getting your pick to the right strings whenever you're picking, but that's something that'll come with time the more you practice it. So definitely pause and practice as long as you need. And then when you get back, we can put together everything we've learned in this tutorial, the chords, the transitions, the strumming, the picking if you want, all together to play through the song. For a while there it was rough, but lately I've been doing better than the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. And I see my family. Want to have fun jamming out to the rest of this song with me? Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other fast track and play along guitar tutorials. I'll make sure to leave a link for that in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun and easy to play. So I'll see you over there. Bye.